Jeremy, welcome from the Bandulus. Did I say that right?
Yeah, Bandulus.
Bandulus.
Yeah,
I'm
Bandulus.
not hip.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
yeah, no, because there's a
it's
U and
just
not there's a U. Sorry,
yeah,
my
two
bad.
U's.
Two
Yeah, no
U's.
doubt, no doubt. Yeah, it's Jamaican patois, means the criminals or the bandits. I was DJing under the moniker Proper Villain for since back in I don't know 2004 or something like that. And yeah, I always thought was going with the villain theme to have for the live band. So yeah, the
Now
Bandulus.
the Bandulus. I knew that, and then it still got in my head about the Bandulas. Even before we started recording, I told you how much of a simp I am, and I can't get the name right.
Yeah, it's all good, man. Yeah, it happens all the time.
So, elevator pitch, real quick for those who don't know. Can you tell us who the Bandulus are?
Yeah, man, we are a Jamaican soul American reggae band. Where we pay homage to the traditional sound. We're as if like if Otis Redding were to start a band with Desmond Decker. Um, Basically, any 1960s Memphis meets 1960s Kingston. So if that's your traditional rock and roll kind of rock steady sound with the American kind of like Motown vocals, that's us.
How does a white boy from
Yeah. Well,
Austin,
yeah.
Texas, dive
hmm
into this genre of music? Because yeah, I mean, yeah, the jazz, soul, ska. It's not
Yeah.
really the thing that Texas is known for.
Right. Well, if you, yeah, I may look white, but I'm actually Mexican. I'm half
All right,
Mexican. Yeah.
okay, all
So
right.
my mom's white, so fair enough. Fair complexion, and I'm only
As
getting whiter with my vitiligo, like Michael Jackson. So,
screwed up the band name and your race. This is this is
yeah,
this is
dude.
a great interview starting off right now.
It's all good, man. No worries. It happened. I mean, it's been my identity my whole life. Like people always mistaken me for something that I'm not. But my dad. So it goes back to my dad being in Tejano bands. He played Tejano music, cumbia, salsa, conjunto, and a little bit of boogaloo. But also played country and blues. He was in several bands. He was the keyboard player and sometimes band leader with people such as Little Joe and Alfonso Ramos. So that's like old school Tejano, 60s, 70s, up to the 90s. He even backed some people might know Sonny Asuna, Sonny and the Sunliners.
Mhm.
They had a big hit. They were, I think, on like American Bandstand in the 60s. But anyway, so the majority of the music he played was Tejano, and Tejano and ska like are kind of like they're like distant cousins,
Right.
And then I always loved soul music. My mom, like both parents just they had so much music growing up in the house, but soul music kind of I was like, oh, I got through ska through like the '90s, Goldfinger and Real Big Fish.
Right.
Then I found out about this band called the Specials, and I was like, "Oh, whoa! There's a little bit older sound." And then through the Specials, I found out about Prince Buster, and so I was like, "Now that that's the sound. The old I didn't realize it was the original sound." So,
How
but yeah,
was it? Because when you listen to, especially "Love a Woman,"
yeah,
um, it's obviously not your traditional ska.
right.
It's not your traditional jazz or traditional soul. I mean, in some ways, when I first listened to the album months ago,
Mm-hmm.
it was almost like a throwback to like a 1950s, like simpler times, if you will. I'm sounding like my
Yeah.
parents right now. How was it getting band members to jump on that?
Well, I've been lucky, dude. This is our 15th year, believe it or not. I've originated a band in Austin with a couple. There's a band called the Stingers ATX back in the day, and a band called Los Carnales, who I was in for a little while. I basically used. They were kind of bands that I looked up to, really.
Right.
And I had a few songs and was in a band called Out of the Ashes of Los Carnales, band called Ryan Scroggins and the Turnstown Texans for Rose. And I was really kind of the side man for that. And it's honestly, it's similar to what I'm already doing.
Hmm.
but because with that was in Houston, and Houston is just like this melting pot of Cajun music, Spanish music, country music, reggae, and everything. But really, it started out as a recording project using those members of those bands I was just talking about. And whenever Ryan Scroggins, he became a herpetologist, started working for the zoo. Kind of the band stopped playing so much, and when I had a few songs, a couple guys were like, "Yo, you should just keep doing it, keep going." So I had to I basically like the name Bandulus is criminal patois. We basically steal things, whatever.
Right.
The bandits. I had to commandeer a band. I was able to. I had contacts all over the like West Coast and California and stuff, and I would basically be like, "Hey, man, I could book these shows if you guys can play with me and learn these songs." And so, I found this band called the River City All Stars in San Antonio, and I took some of those guys from there, and yeah, they just were on board. So it was kind of interesting to find members to do, what I want to do.
And there's seven of you, right?
Yeah, there's seven of us. Seven of us.
How do you manage all that? I mean, because you're kind of do everything right now. So how do you manage seven personalities? I mean, I know some bands they can't manage three, and you got seven.
Yeah, it's a dynamic. Luckily, I've had the same drummer and bass player and singer for the last 7 years, and then I got one of my guys from San Antonio to move because I relocated in 2015 to Portland, Oregon, and I got my original guitar player Mario to move up here recently. So, and then my original backing singer Leah to move up here a few years ago as well. So I have 3 original members and 4 people from here. And yeah, man, it's just luckily, there's just a love for the music, I guess.
What do you have to convince people to move from warm, great city? Austin's a great city. Austin is a great city.
Yeah.
To, you know what? I don't think you have enough rain in your life and cold weather. Why don't you come on up to Portland?
Right. Yeah. You know what? I don't know. That kind of amazes me myself.
How now making the change, did that moving from Austin to Portland? I know that, we had an album out in 2013 and then you brought the other one out in 2020. Was it a artistic difference for you to move locations?
No, honestly, I'm born and raised in Austin. I was kind of sick of the town itself, and I didn't want to die only living in Texas my whole life. So I had a good friend that lived up here, and I was like, "Oh man, I'm thinking about relocating." I couldn't afford, I always wanted to be on the West Coast because I love the scenery.
Right.
Whether it's hot and dry down in the desert down in California, or the exact opposite up here.
Right.
So yeah, Portland just kind of, I was like, oh man, I think we could make that happen. My wife was on board and we brought our kids, and yeah, it was just and the very first day, my buddy Mario, who ended up moving up as well, he packed the U-Haul with me and put my car on a trailer behind it and help drive me up here.
That's awesome. And now you're married with kids, so how is that?
Oh yeah. Yeah,
we're gonna get into your album and everything, but you opened the door, so we're gonna walk through it here.
Yeah, no worries.
Being in a band and you guys were in Europe last year and stuff like that. Like, talk about that balancing act. When it comes to kids and wife and all of that.
It takes a village, like they say, right? Luckily, my kids were old enough when we moved up here to watch themselves. I didn't have to pay for a babysitter anymore. But I mean, like my parents and my wife's parents helped us from the beginning because I was a father young. I was 19 when my first kid was born.
Oh wow!
And my wife was 17, so we were young. Yeah, and now my daughter's going to be 21 this year. How about that?
Dang, dude,
that's crazy, right? So you do the math on how old I am, but. But it takes a village, and I grew up in a musical family, and so whenever they were completely supportive of watching the kids, while my wife would even come with me a lot of places, and she actually got to go to Europe with us last year.
Oh, that's awesome!
And her mother came up here and watched our 15-year-old. our younger one. So
now is your 15-year-old
mm-hmm.
are they into the Bandulus?
You know what, they've had, they're both just like whatever, like they totally love to come see us play when we play all ages shows,
right?
But they're like, whatever, they're into their own thing.
I have a 9-year-old daughter who loves the Interrupters, and so I'm happy about that. But then also we're into all the musicals and Disney movies, and I'm that dad now who's at the stoplight rocking out to Frozen soundtracks, and I really want to be rocking out to like Rancid or Op Ivy or something like that.
Right.
Now, speaking of the Interrupters, you got 3 shows coming up with them in April, and it seems like you guys have a pretty tight relationship. So talk about the shows, talk about how you got those shows, and just how'd you meet those guys? Because those are really cool dudes. They're all
they're great. I actually got to meet them years ago in San Antonio. We opened up the Interrupters in 7 Seconds, and who was the other band? Another big band is escaping me right now, but we just kind of hit it off with them. I think it was the Interrupters' very first tour. I don't know if it was.
Was that with Rat Boy?
No, it wasn't with Rat Boy.
Oh, okay.
It was like definitely 7 Seconds, and I can't tell you, another like 80s hardcore band.
Oh, okay.
And they were, it was. They also did one like right before. I don't know. I can't remember if I saw them with Tim Timebomb when Tim Timebomb did a whole tour with Rancid as well. It was like Interrupters, Tim Timebomb, and Rancid all in one package. So I don't know if that happened first, because I met them both times. The first time was just they came to an after party after that big Tim Timebomb tour, and I just happened to meet the twins there and Kevin. And then we really solidified our friendship whenever they came back to town, and we played with them in San Antonio. And we kind of just kept in touch. When I moved up here, one of the very first shows I went to, Kevin was here in town. He was like, "Hey man, I'm playing with the English Beat at the Wonder Ballroom. If you're not doing anything, come on out." So hung out with him here. And actually one day before I moved up here, the coolest text message I ever gotten. Kevin just hit me up out of the blue. It was like, "Hey, brother, I'm just listening to the times we had with Tim Armstrong and my brothers in the car, and we're rolling around town." I was like, "What?" That was really cool. But and it goes all the way back to they came to the town. They were still doing club shows. We opened up for them here in 2016, maybe here in Portland. And just been keeping in touch with them and texting them every now and then. And when they came through town with Flogging Molly over the summer, went and hung out with them down in Bend. They just kind of hit me up in November. We're like, "Hey man, do you want to do these 3 shows with us?"
How stoked were you when you got that text? You're like,
"Oh yeah, man." I mean, I was like, "Are you serious?" Like, of course. And it's funny because our keyboard player, Esteban Flores, he was in the Steady 45s. He actually played with the Interrupters for at least 18 months, right before they got Billy, who's playing with them now. But
how do you think the audience is going to take? Because the Interrupter shows are a young audience, so you get to set the young minds on a right path and keep them away from like pop music or Lizzo or something,
Right, man. That's exciting to me. But I'm wondering because we do well with younger kids, because we used to play, believe it or not, farmers markets, and like anyone from 6 months to 68 to 78 even, we're just out there cutting a rug. So like, I'm excited just to kind of pass on the tradition, and hopefully some of these kids, they start playing like more traditional style music.
And buy a lot of merch at the concerts too. Buy a lot of merch.
please do.
Now, speaking of shows and all this, what do you guys have coming up for 2023 outside of the Interrupters?
Here in March, we're doing a little mini run with Deals Gone Slack. Mm-hmm. If you guys know Deals Gone Bad and the Slackers, they have a side band when they're both not doing anything, called Deals Gone Slack, and They're just coming through in March for, I guess they're doing a whole West Coast run. We're just part of the Pacific Northwest run of it. And then later on in the summer, we're doing our 15-year anniversary tour, headed down to Texas, do a whole run of Texas and Colorado and Boise and Salt Lake City on the way down. And then later on in the year, we're trying to get to the East Coast.
Will you be coming to Nashville, Tennessee?
Man, I would love to.
All right.
I would love to. We only been to Nashville once, and that was back in like 2014.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah,
well,
it's been a minute.
When you come to Nashville, we're here. You know, I got couches. Yeah. I got couches for you.
Nice. Love to hear that.
Now, do we have a new album coming this
yeah.
year?
So, we're working on it right now. We actually have a couple of records in the works. New record. We went to Belgium last summer and cut 8 songs there, and then we had 4 already we had here. So we're putting those two together, and we're sending it off to the label to do the mixing and the mastering. Actually, as we speak, we were having these conversations this morning, and I would imagine it being out maybe early next year. I'm not exactly sure because we're already talking about the European tour in 2024. So that's kind of like what we're ramping up towards.
Right. Well, that's awesome. Now, stalking your Instagram and following you guys for the last few months, you seem to play a lot of shows with a lot of well-known, established, legendary artists, a lot in ska and stuff like that. And one of the things I always try to, when I'm talking to up-and-coming artists and everything, is letting them know, I hate the word connection. Like, you go make connections. Right, you seem to have very genuine friendships with a lot of these artists. Yeah. That's a testament to you as a person. Give us give the audience some advice on how they could just mimic you and because you've been very easy to work with setting up this interview and like I said, it seems like you have a lot of great friendships within the industry. What is the one thing that you could pass on to up and coming artists or even established artists? Because some of them are jerks that you could like how have you had these opportunities present themselves to you?
Man, I guess be humble, you gotta obviously that goes a long way. And don't be afraid to, if you say, oh, hey, there's Vic Ruggiero over there. Like, hey, man, just like, you don't have to corner him and like talk to him for an hour. Just go by and be like, hey, man, love your stuff, blah, blah, blah. You really, just kind of the same stuff that all fans do. But at the same time, just, I don't know. Maybe it's part of charisma too. I don't know. I'm not saying that I'm charismatic, but
no, you are. Were you the guy who was giving your like CDs or vinyls to people, or did you wait for them to ask you for them? Were you like, here, just check it out, or how did that go?
Oh yeah. So well, they just kind of. We for instance with the Slackers, we just opened up for them forever. Like and in fact, the very first Bandulus CD, the record, Vic Ruggiero of the Slackers is on 5 tracks. So because I didn't have a solid band, and he one day out of the blue hit me up and was like, hey man, I'm coming down to Texas. I want to do a bunch of shows. Would you mind booking a couple and maybe opening? So I was like, oh yeah, of course. And so I just took the opportunity to set up a recording session while he was in town. And it just kind of happened, the planets aligned where I was working on it at a time that he was coming down.
Now, I don't know if you can talk about this, but the record label that you're going to be releasing with, which label will you be releasing?
It's Batasonics Records out of Belgium. They're in Charleroi.
Okay.
I guess they have a office in Brussels, but it's Nico from the band The Moon Invaders from back in the day, but his new band is called the Utopians.
Okay.
And he also plays with like Victor Rice, the Victor Rice stuff. And I guess they actually recorded all there as well. And he's had a studio called the Poom Poom Hotel. He's had that for, so many great records have come out of that spot, and yeah, to be able to record there was like, it was mind blowing. Thank you to Peter Clem and the Freedom Sounds and the Stingers for bringing us out to Cologne to make that connection, because literally, like, that would not have happened had we not gone out there.
That's awesome. Now, some of my songs, my favorite song of yours, which I'm I'm a total stand for, is "Smile." I think Smile's great. And then you get into the other ones I have on my saved. Sorry, I'm not a vinyl guy. I'm a Spotify guy.
It's all right.
Stop Playing with My Heart and Dear Lord. Yeah. Dear Lord's a great, but those songs will Stop Playing My Heart and Dear Lord. They're pretty popular on Spotify for you guys. And I know that for your genre of music, vinyls are very important. Yeah. And have you seen, like, what would you say is like, I saw, don't ever ask me to help you move if you got to move those vinyls. You get 20 of those in a box. It's like a body. Oh my
gosh. Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of this is backstock for shows, you know, got a big merch table to sell all those records. So,
well, do you have any rarities back there?
Oh yeah, there's a few. There's a couple. I mean, not as many as a lot of my friends,
right?
Because I put a limit on how much I spend on a record. So yeah, there's a few in there that's kind of rare these days. Even more so on the CD wall over here, because yeah, it's funny that those are just kind of paperweights at this point, but I still have a CD player. I still spin them.
So I got my kids an Autograph Interrupter CD.
Oh, cool!
When Fight the Good or not, the new one came out. My daughter picked up the CD, looked at it, and asked, "What is this?"
Oh, wow!
And I go, "You play it," and she goes, "So it's like Alexa," and I'm like, I'm 41. I'm so freaking old. She has no clue what is. She's like looking at the mirror of the CD. So she'd love your wall.
Oh wow.
So like when people discover you guys, are you finding that is it on Spotify? Is it on YouTube? Are they finding the vinyls in record stores? Like, how are people, or is it concerts and then they buy the vinyls?
Yeah, it's usually by shows.
Okay.
I would say, just because like, you know, the Slackers have given us a huge opportunity over the years, like playing with those guys. Who else? Like, I mean, not to give the credit away, but yeah, usually it's through shows. The Scatolites. So we went on a big run with the Scatolites right before COVID started. And yeah, luckily Love a Woman, even though it officially didn't come out until January of 2020, I had copies with me, so I actually sold them before. But luckily, I just put that out on my own label, and so I wasn't breaching anything. But yeah, it's through the shows. Like recently, we had our friends Mustard Plug and Buck09, and it was the whole In Defense of Ska tour came through, and like. Still, I mean, we've been playing in town for 7 years, and still people are like, "Whoa, y'all are from here!" Like they can't believe it. I'm like, "Yeah, man, we play shows all the time. Come on out, you know." It's like, just check us out.
Now, the Love a Woman album. Did your wife help you out with that? Like now, like this is how you really love a woman, or where did the theme for that? Because what a bold concept.
Yeah.
For you know. I mean, like that's a bold line to make an album called Love a Woman, because you're giving me the tips right now.
Yeah. Hey, how about that?
Where'd the inspiration come for that?
Well, I mean, my whole themes of the majority of my songs are like broken love songs. You know, it's like they're either making you the hero, or usually you're the bad guy. I'm the bad guy, you know, but every now and then there's a glimmer of hope. Right. Actually, yeah, she helped me a lot. She did the artwork. Okay. She came up with she took the photo. That's me and our friend Kat on the front, and she took the photo of our last record and did all the artwork on the last record too. And yeah, so the last 2 records she's done a majority of stuff, but she's definitely inspiration behind a lot of the lyrics. You know, sometimes you know there's ups and downs in relationships, and so. You know, unfortunately, whenever you're down, that's usually when the inspiration comes the hardest. But
well, and when you guys are down, that's when you say, "Hey, I'm going to tour Europe. You can come with me," and then you get back up
yeah,
again.
exactly. Good point. Good point. Yeah, she got to go both times last year. That was pretty amazing.
That's a good deal that's a good deal for the missus right there.
Yeah, for sure.
Your merchandise. We talked beforehand. I'm about to be a proud owner of a shirt.
Yeah.
Go to your website. We'll get all that here. You guys have some really cool merchandise. Like I really,
cool.
you know, because some of the bands and especially in the ska genre, it's like I wouldn't be caught dead wearing that design on the shirt because it's just not my style.
Right. Totally.
I really appreciate that. Very simplistic, but very attention to detail. So, which is a good time if they want to buy a Bandulus shirt, where can they go?
Bandulus.com. We have a limited run. It's called Limited Run is the website that hosts our stuff there. Soulshot Records.limitedrun.com, or just go to bandulus.com and there's a store there. It'll lead you to the path right on the way. Yeah.
And if they want to, you know, obviously you guys are on Spotify, Apple Music, Bandcamp, but if they want to reach out and contact you guys or stalk you, how can they do that?
We're on we're old school. We're just on Facebook, really. We're on Instagram. We're on Twitter at the Bandulus, all three. That's really the only social media that we do. I don't even open my Twitter anymore. I'm pretty archaic when it comes to that stuff. But
it's a wasteland at this point, you know.
I just have them all tied together so they all advertise at the same time.
And you guys are always, you know, I found out about you guys a few months ago, just kind of listened to your stuff, sat back, watched you, because I really only want to talk with artists that I really want to talk to, who I think have cool music, who got a cool story, who can inspire other people. And you guys are, you know, you're always posting on Instagram and stuff, and high quality stuff. You're a great person, very talented. And so I would love to bring you back as we get the new album, as we're getting ready for the new album at the end of the year, maybe. And, you know, if you come to Nashville, you're going to be at the, you're going to be going to the Punk Rock Bowling and Music Festival. Cause like every artist asks me if I'm going, and I'm like, I feel like I have to at this point.
Right. I really would love to. I would love to. I'm not, I don't think I am at this moment, but
Bring the wife.
I would love to. Right. She would love to come.
Renew your vows in Vegas at a drive-through or something, like a drive-through chapel.
Yeah, we're actually supposed to go for my daughter's 21st birthday, so that's at the end of the summer.
Well, just a few months shy, but I don't care who it is. Like, are you going to love to meet you at Punk Rock Bowling? I'm like, I don't want to go to Vegas in May. You know how hot it's going to be?
It's going to be warm.
But Jeremy, I thank you so much for your time. And we do this thing with some artists, but like I have a playlist of my followers. It's got like 8,000 followers on Spotify. Nice. We're going to drop in Smile as our song of the week for you guys. Cause I said, that's like my favorite song that y'all do. Bandulus.com, where you can get the merch.
Yes, sir.
Next week, I'm going to be interviewing a deathcore group next week.
Right on.
So I'll be rocking your shirt in the interview. Give you some press. So nice. Jeremy, I appreciate you and appreciate your time. Good luck on the upcoming shows and on the new album.
Yeah, appreciate it so much, man. Yeah, have a good one.
We'll let it right there. All right, thanks, man, for your time. And I'm going to actually flip this pretty quick. So we're going to get it out probably in the morning.
Nice.
And then, I mean, you'll get a couple of thousand plays from the Spotify thing. You'll get some, you know, you'll probably get some followers, you know, and I mean, like I got a lot of like up and coming bands as well. So that's why I was trying to do some of the, how did you do it? Cause you know, a lot of young artists are dicks, you know, you know, so I'm trying, it's like how you don't want to ever meet your heroes in music. Cause doesn't usually turn out. That's
true.
That's why when I met, because I've been a Rancid kid since the 90s. And when I first met those guys, I was like, oh, they're really cool guys. Like there's hope for humanity. Because I've met other artists and I'm like, I'm never meeting anybody again, you know?
Right.
And so I appreciate that. And then, I'll send you the link and then,
cool.
you guys come to Nashville, or if we're in the same city, dude, I'd love to, check out a show and,
that would be rad, man.
So, well, thanks for your time, dude.
Yeah. Thank you, man. Thank you so much. Have a good day.
You too, buddy.